up.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
Cases are going through the roof. Highest case total the other day.
300 drug for that.
One day. The vaccine is coming. I saw on the news that I thought this was they said fairly optimistic, but pretty good that we could start seeing this available to everybody, when everybody's available to it at our pharmacies by late February, early March. Johnson & Johnson getting in the game with some other companies as well that'll be releasing their own vaccines. And so we're just kind of waiting for that to happen in January. But, they said fairly optimistic, but that's good news, right?
I'm hyped for the new drop, man.
The new what?
The new vaccine drop. Are you guys going to get it when it comes out?
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I don't
What's
think
a drop?
I'm not going to. I treat this as cars. When a car comes out, like right now, there's a car out on the market. I think is a really sharp looking car. It's made by Hyundai and Kia. They make the two different versions. I think the Kia one's called the Telluride. It's an SUV. I think it's called the Telluride. I don't know what the Hyundai is called. Palisade, I think, or something like that. Anyways, but they're the exact same car. And they're really nice looking, but I want to wait and see what the verdict is.
Wait until people work out the bugs?
Yeah, because a lot of people rushed out and bought PT Cruisers because they're like, whoa, it looks like a roadster. Then they got in it and they like drives like a Geo, know, and it was
if you looked at a PT Cruiser and said that looks sick, I think you got everything coming.
No, but you don't understand. Like you were 5 when the PT Cruiser. No, you were like 2 when the PT Cruisers came out. And
a lot of people went out and bought them.
Yeah, it was a very popular car because it was a unique look for a vehicle.
The reason they quit making them.
And
it was a Dodge product, right?
Yeah, and then when people got into them and started driving them, they realized they were just very underpowered, very not aerodynamic, and
plasticky.
And plastic. They weren't good. It was a
cheaply made car.
Yeah, cheaply made but cool looking for the time car. And so people went out and they bought the PT Cruisers, and then they realized, wow, this isn't all the car that we thought it was cracked up to be. I'm afraid that I'm going to have, I want, like a couple to few million to take the vaccine with no side effects.
Well, by the time you're going to get it, or it's going to be available to you, that'll happen.
They
just started this week.
It's possible.
But here's the thing, and then they found out that the Pfizer one, if you have bad allergies to certain things, like my mom is very allergic to metals. She can't, it sucks because, you want to just buy your mom something for her birthday or Christmas.
Like
it has to be like...
even the heavy variety?
What's not? It has to be better than 14 karat gold.
Like no Megadeth?
It can't be Ride the Lightning. It has to be the blackout.
No Megadeth?
What, are you on fire today? I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's too early.
The lightning.
Too early for jokes for Jeremy.
But 28 karat gold. It's got to be 28 karat gold or better. So it's like I can't buy my mom jewelry unless I'm going to throw down, hundreds, thousands of dollars.
Isn't that an excuse?
I think she's running you for.
No, I bought her. I've seen it my whole life. She breaks out in rashes.
She's like,
she can't have any metal next to her.
He gets her the 14K bracelet, and she throws it back in his face. She goes, "I'm 28, gal."
But anyways, they now have found out that a lot of dogs that they've trained are great ways to detect people have COVID-19 instead of having to swab up your nose or spit into a cup or whatever that they're doing.
What, dogs can tell?
Dogs, they're on it for sure.
Humans can't smell it, but dogs apparently can.
Hold on a second, Cameron. The lady's talking, for God's sakes.
All right, Cameron.
Hey, can you do me a favor? And I don't have headphones this morning. The mix is just miserable. I need a little bit more headphone. I need a little bit more Cameron as well.
Okay, well, maybe you'll get that now. Here it comes.
Okay.
Humans can't smell it, but dogs apparently can. The results, the animals with the...
How's that? Can you hear that okay?
Cameron, you can hear that fine?
Yeah, I got you.
You're not going to try to talk over?
Sorry.
All right, more.
Police training... Humans can't smell it, but dogs apparently can. The results, the animals with the least training picked out the COVID samples over 76% of the time. 2 dogs already trained to sniff out cancer were right 100% of the time.
So these dogs
compare this with all the tests.
Are dogs sniffing cancer dogs? They sniff cancer, and they're also prone to sniff coronavirus. That's what I'm gathering from the sound I've heard so far. Is that correct?
They can do coronavirus. They've been trained to get coronavirus.
But why she say cancer there?
I'm not sure.
If you compare this with all the tests that are on the market, actually, because it's a market, PCRs, antigenic tests, saliva tests, etc. I do think it is actually probably one of the best of all these tests.
The doctor that speaks broken English lost me at VCR. He
said he's a French guy, by the way, and he said this is a very accurate test. The problem is, how much money does it take to train a dog? And how long does that take? And
I don't know. He's talking about dogs and VCRs. I think his practices are antiquated, to be honest with you.
I'm really not understanding why they can smell the COVID in your sweat, by the way. And so they took sweat samples from more than 170 people. About half of them had COVID, and the dogs were 100% on this test. They were able to figure it out both ways. The problem is, where are we going to get these dogs? And how long is it going to take to test? And aren't we all going to have the vaccine by then?
Sure. I'm not trusting dog technology to anything, though. I mean, it's just like, okay, great. There's drug sniffing dogs. There's cancer sniffing dogs. Now there's COVID sniffing
This is
dogs.
my point of bringing this whole thing up, is to show you what big business COVID-19 is going to become.
Oh, it's huge.
I mean, it's already become big, right?
It's huge. I mean, just the other day, I heard my first of what I think is going to be many commercials for years and years to come as a result of 2020, advertising mental health services. And I feel like this is something that is going to affect people for a long time beyond whenever Pfizer rolls out, or whenever Moderna rolls out, or whenever Johnson & Johnson rolls out.
Well, they've already all rolled out.
Yeah, but I mean, now that people are starting to take them, it doesn't matter because the damage has been done.
Except for Johnson & Johnson. That has to still be approved in January. Bill Gates said we're still going to be dealing with shutdowns, lockdowns all the way through 2022.
Why is
now,
that?
I don't, because he's a doctor, I guess. This was on the news this
week.
week.
Hang out with Joe Biden or something? Make him doctor by proxy?
Oh my God, that is such a stupid thing. Was that the New York Times or the Post? I forget which paper it was.
It was the Wall Street Journal.
The Wall Street Journal. That asked her a question, and here was the question. And this is how misleading things get taken out of context, all right? They didn't question her for calling herself that. They said, by the way, now that you are going to be Madam First Lady, meaning you're going to be the First Lady, will you stop using the doctor in your name? It wasn't like, oh, what kind of doctor are you?
No, that's what I said.
But that's how the news took it. I mean, it was just like, he wasn't asking her that. He was asking her, well, now that you're going to be Madam First Lady, will you use that instead of going by Dr. Jill Biden? And that thing got all blown out of proportion.
Is a doctor of education just a teacher? I mean, isn't that...
Well, it's anybody who goes and gets their doctorate degree.
Right.
Is a doctor. Most people don't use it, but she is a teacher. But doesn't she teach school kids? Like kids? I think she teaches like grade school.
I don't know. If you're a doctorate, if you got your doctorate in education, that's awesome, and you can go by doctor. Apparently,
we had professors. Did we ever call them doctors?
I don't think the rest of the world sees you as a doctor.
Did we call any of our professors at Washington State University doctor? And we had them. There was only one, and he was the head of the department, and he went by Dr. Tan. I don't think he taught any classes.
Cameron, have you ever called a teacher a doctor?
Oh, yeah. If they have a doctorate, you have to call them a doctor. It's the finest way to kiss ass. Oh, yes. Oh,
that's the best thing you've said all morning.
That is true. That is absolutely true.
I love it. I worked so hard on it.
Absolutely. You're right on that one. In order to get kids involved into the football experience, and what they're going to do is they're going to superimpose graphics of like googly eyes on players, and when player scores a touchdown, they're going to fill the end zone with virtual slime. Like they're going to spout slime out of these cannons, and it's going to cover everybody on the field in the slime doing the dance and the celebration. And I thought, wow, that sounds pretty stupid when hearing the description. But then I saw some of the examples. and I'm pretty impressed.
So this is like Nickelodeon version of football. It's like they got together. You know, here's the thing. I remember being a kid and watching football with my dad and wanting to watch football and even the Seahawks. And I loved Steve Largent as a kid. But then I would get bored after a while because it can be slow and commercial breaks.
My son is starting to show an interest.
This might be a good idea.
And I think that this would be enough to bring him over the hump. I mean, that would be funny for him to watch what dad has been watching, you know, a lot of for the most of his life. And then all of a sudden, these guys that are just guys in helmets and pads, normally they pop up from a catch and they got googly eyes.
I don't understand what the point of this is. Are they going to try to start marketing stuff to kids?
Well, yeah, they're going to try to indoctrinate kids to get interested into sports because their fear is that generations as young as Cameron's generation doesn't give a rip about sports.
No, because of concussions. I mean, concussions, especially for football, right? I mean, not all sports.
I didn't say I wanted my son to play. I just want him to watch.
You've said you wouldn't let your son play football.
No, although he does show interest. He grabs his football and he goes barreling into walls.
Are you telling me if he wants to play football in 10 years, you're going to say no?
We'll see where it's at. We'll
that's all he wants to do.
We'll see where science is at in 10 years.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
We'll see if he can take the concussions or not, whether it's worth it.
Yeah, let me hit him in the head a few times. We'll see how he does.
Well, he's doing his damnedest to try to get one on his own. So, I mean.
when is this
like
happening?
If he's smart, it's like, oh, you're not playing football, but if he's not, then I will just let him run in the walls. He'll be okay. You could take it.
You said this is the wild card game, which is coming up in a couple weeks?
Yeah, January 10th. So it's going to be the CBS wildcard game. So I guess it's an AFC wildcard game. I don't know. Nobody knows, who it's going to be yet, but it'll be fairly interesting. So
is this going to be on the major networks or separate?
So it's going to be on CBS, and Jim Nantz and Tony Romo are going to be doing it on CBS. But then on Nickelodeon, it's going to be Noah Eagle, which is Ian Eagle's son, who is also the voice of the Clippers, and then Nate Burleson, who I really like, Nate Burleson. And then one of the stars from one of the Nickelodeon shows, one of the kids.
Nate Burleson's on the NFL Network, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But he's going to jump.
Former Seahawk.
He's going to jump ship for one day to provide the color commentary for the Nickelodeon.
That's
broadcast.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Pretty cool. You guys, I alluded to this a little bit on the show yesterday. We had so many things to give away. I didn't get a chance to say even why I went to CD's Pet Emporium. It was to buy clippers for my dog Molly. You guys, do you guys have to cut your dog's hair? Because I have two dogs. I have one dog. We don't have to cut his hair. It's just the same length.
Yeah, no. George doesn't need a bulldog. Still, you don't have to trim them. Just their nails sometimes. But
yeah,
he plays so much outside that it doesn't. We don't have to trim him.
The cement takes care of it.
Our other dog we used to take to the pet store or whatever the place Emporium thing was, and they would trim their nails.
You know how much it costs to get a dog's haircut? Like Molly is
let me guess.
A long-haired dog.
35.
No.
50 bones.
More.
To get a dog wash?
Every time I get it, well, she gets washed and cut. Okay, so whatever that, it's groomed.
I get washed and cut
What do you have?
I know, for 50 cents.
$25.
50 cents. Oh, you're talking about a haircut.
Yeah, I get a haircut. They wash my hair and style it for $25.
To do a dog, and you have to tip them too. So it's always like $90 whenever I go get Molly's haircut, and which is
you have to tip.
I should get Molly's haircut probably once every 4 months or so, and I was like, enough of this. Okay, listen, everybody's cutting their own hair. Nobody's gonna care if you cut your dog's hair.
I've seen Molly. She looks the same no matter what. That face.
She looks a lot better with a haircut, I think. So the other day, I said, screw it. I'm going and I'm buying clippers. I'm not paying $80 for a haircut minimum. And sometimes it's $90. If I feel like they did a really good job, I could throw some cologne on her after it's all said and done. So I cut my dog's hair the other day. And I got to tell you, the satisfaction of knowing I can do that, because this was the first time ever that I'd cut her hair. And I did an okay job. Like, there's some tufts of hair that are a little bit longer.
How did you hold her? Was she just really good and she just stood there for you? Because most dogs, that's the problem, is getting him to hold still.
She's a great dog, and
she's older too.
Yeah, she is older, and she's a great dog. I mean, she's very. And the weird thing about it is, like, dog clippers, it's not like, human clippers. They're, but they make them like soothing for dogs because that would freak a dog out. So like they just go. and it kind of is a nice white noise. So
my dog is scared of my wife's electric toothbrush. You can barely hear it, but it must be the low.
Yeah, it's that.
He'll jump up and he'll take off. Right. She's like, I'm like, I don't even know why. It just started one day.
So I had to buy these dog clippers, and they're quieter, so I buy them, and it was so easy. And it took me about, I don't know, 30 minutes to do it because I wanted to make sure I was doing it safely because I didn't want to nick her up. But once I got the hang of it, it was mind blowing. I can't believe all these years, and now this is where the regret sits in, right?
That you've been paying how much?
All these years, I've been paying $270 a year for Molly's 12. So for lots of years, for 12 years times 270, that's a lot of money. And I could have just went out and bought a $70 pair of set of clippers with attachments.
Well, we were talking about George Clooney using the Flowbee. That's what it was called, right? The Flowbee, with the vacuum to it. And I thought, I pay $25 every time I get my hair cut, which is totally fine.
Dude, if I could get my hands on a Flowbee, I would be on board.
I would like to try the Flowbee because he seems to do a pretty good job if he's telling the truth.
100% on board.
I'm sure he's a talented guy, but he can't be that talented. It can't be that hard to cut your hair, especially if you got a good system going.
I mean, really, he should. I mean, he's wasting his time with Casamigos. He should be Booker for Flowbee.
What is there anything that you used to pay somebody to do that now you're doing it yourself? And it's so rewarding. 805-543-3693. Those are the 805 lines. Remember, 805 beer, properly chilled. Live local, live live, live 805. Go to 805beer.com.
Subscribe to the Jeff and Jeremy podcast now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. It's your Central Coast commute-friendly podcast.